Terve! Welcome to the official first episode of the BorderTrain DEVLOG series. If you are not in the loop yet, here is the premise of BorderTrain. You begin work as the manager of a train station. However, the job is not what you expected as a deadly virus breaks out, causing lots of traffic from refugees. Not helping the situation is that bad actors are using the disaster as a way to infiltrate the city. By keeping track of the station's employees and resources, you must prevent the infected, spies and terrorists from entering the city before it's too late. I actually don't know if I'm allowed to call this a devlog series, but I saw some people doing that and I wanted to try it as well. Since I thought that maybe using that name for the series will help reach other people who make games. And maybe those hypothetical people will help me to make a better game by commenting about it in the comments. Thank you! I appreciate the comments. Well, anyway, in the last video about BorderTrain, I managed to make these illustrations of the world surrounding the station. And even though I didn't talk about it much in the video, I came up with a lot of different lore stuff for the world. Because I like doing that and I think it's cool. Even though I don't really intend this to be like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing where everyone is making their theories and no one knows what's really going on and everyone is going to just fight over what's really happening in the game. That's not what I'm going for. But some people already actually made theories about what all of this means. And it was so exciting. I really love people coming up with theories about my work. I think that it also helps me because it actually shows me if I'm doing a good job at my storytelling, or if I should improve something, or if I'm not making something clear enough. So please keep doing that. Anyway, now that I've shared with you a little bit about the world surrounding the station, I need to start focusing on the station itself. If you played the demo version, you should already be familiar with the station. So there's the station building, and then there's the sanatorium. And of course the train tracks in the middle. However, the way that I drew this in the original drawing was not actually very close to my original vision, since I saw this being a lot bigger. But at the time I was making this, I kind of lacked the ability to make it happen with my hands. So in this video I'm going to try to get closer to what I was imagining. But I'm going to try to keep the original color schemes and overall look. Anyway, since this game now takes place in this big capital city, of course the buildings need to be more impressive too. I first started by making these blueprints. I've got some experience with blueprints because my father works in an industry that needs a lot of blueprints. So we always had blueprints laying around in our house and I liked to look at them when I was a child. And I have taken a couple courses in school about making blueprints, so that's where I got my knowledge. Although these are not very good in any sense. I don't know if these buildings really need this many bathrooms, but oh well. There seems to never be enough of them in real life, so maybe in the game world, you don't need to wait in a line for the 3 hours. I gave the sanatorium this interesting shape because I saw that a lot of real life sanatoriums kind of had shapes like this, and I like it and I want to keep it, so that's what I did. You can see in the middle of the building, there's this big hole or circle, and that's actually going to be a garden room. Plant house? I don't know, something like that. It's not going to have a floor like everything else, but instead it's going to be kind of in every floor, so every floor gets to see a little glimpse of the tree that's growing inside. I hope that makes sense. The first floor of the station building is of course just some seats for people who are waiting for the train, as well as staircases, since I imagine that the station is on a kind of raised platform, so people would need to go through the staircases to get to the city. And on the second floor of the station building, there's just these things that you walk on. It'll become more clear later. The insides of these buildings don't actually really matter, but I thought it'd be fun to make these It kind of just helps me to see what the building needs to look like on the outside, like window placement and stuff like that. And then there's the roof. Next, I wanted to make a colored front view of each building. The way I decided to do this is by transforming all the different floors in Krita and placing them on top of each other to create this perspective look. Then I just used straight lines to connect the edges, and I built the roofs based on some reference images and my imagination. Something that I want to make clear is that I'm not very involved in any specific communities. In fact, I've only ever watched one devlog video in my life. I do enjoy seeing what others have made, and often even seeing the process of how it was made. It can be inspirational and helpful. But truly, I've always been just doing my own thing. What I enjoy about games, animation and art is the pure process of making something, having an idea and working on it one day at a time, and at the end enjoying the final product. Even cooler is when somebody else trusts me enough to be a part of their project. A great example being the Bible Mouse shorts I've been voice acting in for Space Ocelot. Even though I'm a horrible voice actor, I was blessed with such a cute role. Also, the animatic that I did for Inky, and getting to read all the drafts of her story and giving feedback, I just love seeing people work on the things that matter to them. In fact, the whole reason why I'm making YouTube videos revolves around those two things. Making stuff and hopefully inspiring others to do so as well. I hope this can clear up any misconceptions that people might be building about me making a devlog. I saw some people saying that this kind of video on YouTube is oversaturated, like there's just way too many people doing this. And I can understand why people might be tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. I hope this can clear up that I just genuinely enjoy doing this and I'm not trying to be anyone else or copy any kind of project. I hope it's clear in the way that I edit the videos as well. I really enjoy the editing part and adding all kinds of like cool little things instead of just showing the basic pictures, you know? Well, anyway, once I got the full 3D look for the buildings, I just traced over it with clean lines and colored it in.
Loading the sanatorium. Loading complete. Loading the station. Loading complete.
With the buildings done, I started pondering how the main view of the game should look. I do want the player to be able to move around slightly, so consider this drawing like a fake screenshot type thing. For now, I've been using this top-down view with a slight fisheye perspective. I did have to cheat the perspective in a few spots, which gave it a cartoony look, and that's fine, of course, I am a cartoonist after all. However, it's way too soft. It needs to have a sharper feel. To add some life to the station, I'll also want to incorporate the characters walking around the map, as well as the ability to click on the buildings to see the indoors. Now, I could achieve this in 2D, but the thing is, I would need a very large canvas to get the amount of detail that I want, and my computer is going to off itself if I try to do that. Which is why I believe that a 3D map is way more optimal and may even look better in the end. I'm not sure I've mentioned this before, but I'm a big fan of Tomb Raider, especially the first game. So I'm very inspired to do something similar in terms of textures for the style of my game, in case I do make it in 3D, which does seem to be where it's heading. But that's for a later video. I don't want to even touch Blender for now. But don't worry, I'll be touching Blender a lot once I get to know it a little. For now, I was focused on getting an idea of what the perspective would be like. And as you may have noticed, at last I tried an isometric view as suggested by my online friend Chris. Thank you! If you don't know what an isometric view is, to put it simply, it's 3D without perspective. Instead of things getting smaller the further away they are, they stay parallel. They stay parallel. Anyway, with this speed paint, I really didn't know what to do for the colors. Like I've mentioned before, I do want to keep the colors fairly similar as the demo version, just slightly less saturated and with sharper contrast. To be entirely honest, I struggled a lot with this speed paint. I was stuck. However, I was blessed to see this video by 10. Not only is the story very beautiful and relatable, but as I was watching, I couldn't help but realize that the colors and the architecture reminded me so much of BorderTrain, which is why the final piece got so much inspiration from her. But I've got to say, it's getting closer to my vision. It's still not exactly what I want, but it's getting there. Thank you so much for watching this far. I'll be uploading these devlogs at least every other month in between my other projects. I didn't verbally mention it in a video yet, but I did start a Ko-fi page where you can donate. I'm not expecting any donations, at least for now, since I have a very small channel compared to a lot of other channels, but I am mentioning it since recently it has really been on my mind that I want to do this for a living. It will require a lot of hard work and lots of luck, but I have the power of God and autism on my side, so basically no one can stop me. I also have some big shoutouts. Firstly, to Chris Marier, the creator of the Ember Storm webcomic. He's been helping me out with another project that I haven't announced on this channel yet, as well as offering feedback for BorderTrain. Like I mentioned, he was the one who gave me the idea to make an isometric view. Another to 10 Ursu, who I also mentioned before, for inspiring me with the colors. Her channel is just so awesome anyway. Another big shout out to Sakura Sketches, who has been commenting on my videos, and her comments are always so sweet, and I can always count on her to notice even the small things that I think maybe no one else would notice about the way I edit my videos. I love looking forward to her comments every time I post a new video. Even though I tend to be a little bit late to comment on her videos because I just got so many things to do and it feels like I never have time to watch it, but when I do have time, I really enjoy her videos. Also to Corvus and definitely not Meg, who have been commenting on my videos, I appreciate it so much. And last but not least, a big shout out to MJ, the creator of the Chains of Freedom webcomic. She has been very sweet to me and her comic inspired me a lot to make this video. She's actually the one who made a really cool theory about BorderTrain, which actually gave me a lot of perspective in how I will go forward with presenting the story. Well, anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Hyviä yötä!